Hi everybody, Jesse and Caitlin and Riddick and Nora, Schoolcraft Family Farmstead. And today we are canning bread and butter pickles. We're actually using two different recipes, and I will try my best to make sure we differentiate the two as we go here. But Caitlin is getting ready to wash them off and prepare them for slicing. First step is to slice them, obviously. Recipe says 1/4 inch slices, so I'm assuming that's 1/4 inch. So this, we'll call it recipe number, Riddick's destroying the kitchen. Recipe number 1 is for, is it 2.5 pounds, is that right?
Yeah.
2.5 pounds of cucumbers. So that's what we are, or what Caitlin is slicing off right now to put in a bowl.
We have our jars in the dishwasher right now.
Yep.
Sterilizing.
Sterilizing the jars, yep. We're doing quarts, is that right?
Yeah.
I love pickles, especially on my burgers and stuff. Everything's better when it's homemade. We were given these cucumbers by Drew Willis in the Chronicles of Drew Bear, if you want to give him a follow. They're 2.5 pounds right there in that bowl.
They're so pretty.
Yes. Now the next step is to have 1 pound of either white or yellow onions, thinly sliced, as the recipe says, with the 2.5 pounds of cucumbers.
If you don't have one of these slicers, I highly suggest it. I got this one from Pampered Chef, of course.
What, mister? What? What? Hold on. Next, we add pickling or canning salt. How much is it? 1/4 cup, is that right?
Yeah.
1/4 cup of pickling / canning salt.
And stir it all around.
Stir it all around after you add it to the cucumbers and onions. Should this be my audition for a Food Network cameraman?
I'd be mad if you ended up on Food Network and not me.
That would be amusing.
And then we're going to cover it with a tea towel.
Wait, do we need to add ice? Ice goes on top?
Ice goes on top of the tea towel.
Okay, so the ice is going to go on top. Does it specify an amount for the ice?
Nope, just a layer.
Layer. Layer of ice on top of the tea towel. I just got hit with a flake of ice. Looks like a good layer to me. Go in the fridge now?
Yep, it's gonna go in the fridge for 4 hours.
4 hours in the fridge. This is recipe number 1. To the fridge we go. Now that recipe number 1 is in the refrigerator, We're gonna move on to recipe number 2. Now that both of our eyes are burning, all these onions. So for this recipe, we are slicing 2 pounds of onions, just like we did with the first one. And is it 4 pounds of cucumbers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 pounds of cucumbers and 2 pounds of onions. So this recipe number 2 is from the canning Bible. It's not really the canning Bible, but it's the Ball Blue Book.
I've canned a lot of things out of that.
Yes, yes she has, including the award-winning peach butter.
Yes.
We're starting off with 2 pounds of onions though. Then these will be sliced. All right, so bigger recipe calls for bigger bowl. In this case, a stock pot. So, did the 2 pounds of onions sliced up, and already did the 4 pounds of cucumbers. And in this second recipe, it calls for 1/3 cup of pickling salt or canning salt. And then Caitlin is stirring it all together. After this, we're going to cover it with ice. So this second recipe, this is the one from the Ball Blue Book. It makes no mention of covering it with a tea towel. Because if you recall from the first recipe, we did that, cover it with a tea towel and then put the ice on top. This one just says to cover it with ice. So Caitlin is getting the ice here. Gonna cover it up. And once it is covered with ice, it will then sit for an hour and a half. And with this one, we are not putting it in the refrigerator either. Just gonna let it sit with the ice on it for an hour and a half. So we need just a little bit more, probably a couple more scoops.
Cleaning out my ashtray.
Yeah. That's good? Or
Yeah,
another one?
I think that's good.
Okay. Alexa, set a timer for an hour and a half.
Second timer, 1 hour and 30 minutes. Starting now.
There we go.
Now the cameraman can clean up.
Riddick wants bread first. Yep, bread. Oh, here it is. Here, you want bread? Bread, yeah. Yummy, yummy. We interrupt our pickling show with our ice bath halftime. Time to make some chili during our ice bath halftime. It's in the pot. It's cooking for 4 hours.
I mean,
Or is
no.
that just, no. Oh.
Whenever we're ready.
And Riddick's getting in the trash. Shocker. But anyway, chili sure looks yummy. Can't wait to have that with some peanut butter sandwiches. How do you like your chili? Peanut butter sandwiches? Cornbread?
Cinnamon rolls.
Which one, Caitlin? What gets
Peanut
your vote?
butter.
Peanut butter sandwiches?
Or pimento cheese.
Oh yeah, I haven't had that in a long time. I've always had it with peanut butter sandwiches. That's how they served it in elementary school. So that's what I've always eaten it with, was peanut butter sandwiches. Don't turn on the garbage disposal. Busted. Okay, so back to recipe number 2. The hour and a half is up. So we have to drain out the water and then rinse off the pickle and onion, well, I guess cucumber and onion combination.
I've already done the first round of draining and
Oh,
rinsing.
okay. So you drain them and then rinse them out. And then you have to drain them and rinse them out again. Sorry. You can see some of the ice that was left over there. So you have to drain and rinse, and then drain and rinse again once your time is up. Okay, next in our stock pot here, how many cups of sugar are you doing?
2.
2 cups of sugar. And what else? What spice is this here?
Mustard seed.
Mustard seed. How much mustard seed?
2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons of mustard seed. And let's see what else. 2 teaspoons of turmeric. 2 teaspoons of celery seed. A teaspoon of ginger. A teaspoon of peppercorns. And then 3 cups of vinegar. Okay, I have all the dry ingredients in there, right?
Yep, now I just gotta go get the vinegar.
3 cups of vinegar is next. Okay, so the vinegar came to a boil with the dry ingredients, and then we, after it came to a boil, we then added the pickle, or the cucumber and onion mixture to the vinegar mixture, and then brought it to a boil again. And then once it got to a boil again, then it's ready to add to the jars. So
This is the hot packing method.
hot packing method. And
I'm making a mess.
yeah, making a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. They look so yummy. Smell good too.
But you can't eat them for 4 to 6 weeks.
I know, that's okay. After they're canned, you gotta let them sit for 4 to 6 weeks. I'll show you Caitlin's fancy canner here in just a minute too. But that's the next part, is adding the pickles, or the cucumbers and onions, to the jars. Now she's adding the pickle juice to the jars. This one is already done. And according to Chef Caitlin, it is perfect. 1/4 inch headspace. This one's just about there. It's getting close. Yeah, get those spices in there. There you go.
Now we gotta wipe the rims of the jars and put the lids on.
Okay. Using a little bit of vinegar to wipe the rims of the jars. These are both regular mouth lids, right?
Yeah,
Yep, regular mouth quarts.
that's what I prefer.
Okay. 2 new lids. And the rings, of course. Hot.
Yeah. Okay. That's gonna come in the canner.
Now over here to the fancy canner. We need to do a review video on this. This is a, what do you call it? A carry, what? Oh, elbow, hello. A carry, what's it called?
A carry canner.
Carry canner, okay. All right, so we got the jars in there, topped them with water, and then fancy carry canner here. We selected the water bath option. And how long did you set it for?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
But on the carry canner, you have to wait for it to have a steady steam stream, and then you'll hit start, and then that's when it starts counting down.
Okay. So the steam stream will come out of the vent up here on the top. And then once that happens, like she said, you hit start and it'll start counting down from 10 minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Pretty fancy. So we got 2 quarts of recipe number 2 from the Ball Blue Book. I don't know how well you can see it. I guess you kind of can up against the coffee maker. We got a pretty good steady stream of steam. So do I just push the start button?
Yep.
Okay. So we already had the water bath option chosen and bumped up the time to 10. And then she pushed start. And it'll start spinning like this, but then we have the steady stream of steam. You can hear it too. Then all I can do, or all I need to do, push start.
See if they would like to have a review video on it.
Yeah, if you want a review video on this canner, we can make it happen. Because this is one of Caitlin's prized kitchen gadgets. So when the timer goes off, it'll beep 3 times. Was that right? 3 times?
I think so, yeah.
And then I let it sit for a little bit and cool off. And now Caitlin's removing the jars.
And you don't have to let it sit long, but we just did because we were eating supper, so.
Yep, we had our chili for supper. They sure look yummy. And then let them sit and pop down. And start to hear both of the jars pop here before long. All right, back to recipe number 1. The tea towel is off and the ice, leftover ice, is out of it. So now the recipe says to rinse. Whoa, ice cubes. Oh, there's another ice cube stuck to the tea towel. Rinse the cucumbers and onions and then drain them. And then after they're drained, we will rinse and drain again. So you have to rinse, drain, rinse, drain.
Keep having ice cubes falling off.
I know. Oh, run another one. All right, here they are. Now it's time to add the good stuff. Tablespoon of mustard seed,
What's that next?
a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. That was not in the first, or actually that was the second recipe, was it?
No.
Didn't think so. So that's a little different. The other one we did had the mustard seed, of course, but it did not have red pepper flakes. So that's a difference between the two.
I'm kind of excited to try.
The differences?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And a cinnamon stick. And put that in there too. And next we have 3/4 of a teaspoon of the celery seed. Okay. 3/4 of a teaspoon of celery seed. So the recipe says 6 allspice berries plus a pinch of ground allspice, but we could not find the allspice berries, so we just added a little extra on the ground allspice. These the cloves. So 6 whole cloves plus a pinch of ground cloves. And apparently the slots were not big enough to get the whole cloves out. And the last part is a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. And as you can see, the burner's on. So this mixture is going to come to a boil next. Alright, so we got it boiling. Now, Caitlin is adding the cucumbers and onions to the vinegar mixture with all the spices. And stir them in so that all the cucumbers and onions get covered with the mixture. It's hard to do this with one hand while
I can do it.
holding the camera. So once we get it all stirred together, then we'll have to bring it back up to a boil again before we pack them into the jars. All right, now it's time to put the cucumbers and onions into the jars. So we've got another quart for this first jar, but the second one's kind of a wonky jar. Do you even know where you got that jar? Was that from Grandma?
Probably your grandma.
Okay. I think it's 1.5 pints. It's kind of a bizarre size, but there were also, what, is it 2.5 pounds of cucumbers in this one, or 2? 2.5?
No, 2.
2 pounds of cucumbers in this one, and there were 4 pounds of cucumbers in the other one that we've already canned. So should yield a little less, obviously, since we started off with less cucumbers. Okay, got them packed and ready to put in the water in the carry canner. Gotta add just a little bit more water to cover the quart. Does it matter how much the cans are covered? Like, can you get it too deep
No.
with water?
No.
Okay. Okay. Close the lid and seal it shut. Make sure the vent is open on the exhaust. Start, water bath, and then...
Now this one I think said 15 minutes.
Okay, we better double check.
Yeah.
15 minutes for this
Yep.
one? Okay. And start. Better heat up till we get that steady stream of steam. That's a tongue twister. All right, last 2 jars are done. Just gotta take them out, put them on the towel to cool off and seal. Don't they just look beautiful? That's it for the pickles, though. Bread and butter pickles, anyway. I'll let you know how they taste in about 4 to 6 weeks.